The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come one's true and actual principles. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Sutra, Great Master Shinhua, all good monks and nuns, and all good knowing advisors, 阿弥陀佛。诸佛菩萨、诸位大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知識，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa trí giả đại sư và thượng thiện hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện thức sức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 11th of January 2025. Thank you for joining our discussion of the Vimalakirti Sutra here at Way Mountain Temple. Let's see, we're on slide 190. This is the very first chapter. It talks about Buddhalands. And this section here is towards the end of this first chapter here that lists out some of the big bodhisattvas' names that were in attendance. There were about 32,000 Buddhas bodhisattvas in attendance, And most of these, quite a few of these are actually Buddhas. So the Buddhas don't compete against each other. When you have wisdom, there's no competition. They all are after the same thing, is to help living beings, with the best of their abilities. So their life is pretty simple. Nothing complicated. You don't worry about things, and you do what you can to help others. And of course, these Buddhas, they have a lot of wisdom, they have a lot of powers that have accrued over the years. That's why they're extremely busy. And as you get closer and closer to them, you get busier too yourself. You have no time to worry about yourselves. All right? YouTube has a comment. Go ahead, please.
네, 진봉님의 질문입니다. 불교는 부처다라고 명쾌하게 결론을 지어주셨습니다. 어떻게 하면 내가 부처임을 알 수 있습니까?
This question is from Jinbo. Master said that Buddhism is Buddha. So how do I know that I'm Buddha?
You don't know that you're Buddha. You eventually will become a Buddha, whether you believe it or not right now. Your question shows that you want to know for sure whether you have a hard time believing it. So it doesn't matter. We tell you that you are Buddha to be, and eventually you see for yourself. This is what happens in Buddhism. In Buddhism, what matters to us is you, what you get out of it, in spite of all the appearances, all the things that you may be able to see. It may not make sense to you, but trust me, in Buddhism, the Buddhists and Bodhisattvas, they all are dedicated to do everything possible to help you, and that way you become a Buddha yourself. Along the way, you're not the only one who is being helped. There's a lot of living beings are being helped, and many of them have acquired wisdom, have accomplished fruitions, and they studied the Buddha teachings, and through their practices, they come to see for themselves that the Buddha's teachings are all correct. So along the way, they may not be able to see everything yet, but when you reach each person, when each person reaches a certain level, he or she will be able to realize the veracity of the Buddha's teachings. So the Buddhist practices depends on the actual certification of all of us. Okay, so when we say that you will become a Buddha, it's because many before us have already become Buddhas. Many of us are also at the stage where they are so close to Buddhahood, okay, that they begin to see, looking back at their journey, for them to get to this point, they realize that all the Buddha's teachings are correct. And of course, for low-level people like us, we don't understand. We have a lot of obstructions. Especially the karmic obstructions are so heavy that we have doubts. We hesitate, and we want to know. You know, unfortunately for you, in particular for you, since you asked a question, and for many of you, is no way to explain to you, because you still depend on your thinking mind to understand. These bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, after they get there, they achieve their positions, they accomplish their position, their fruitions. They got there because then it puts them at an advantage, big advantage over us. They don't need to use their thinking mind anymore. You know, that at that level of the bodhisattvas, they know. Okay, so when your bodhisattva is that you have your wisdom is the same as the Buddha, meaning you can see a lot of things in the same vein of the Buddha. So you see the bodhisattva at the first level of bodhisattva, which is 1G, first ground bodhisattva. He or she is able to see or to have the Buddha's wisdom already. So we begin to see, you know, a small facet of that ultimate truth there. We're going to go into that very quickly, okay? And as he or she progresses, you can see more and more and more and more. So she no longer hesitates, and she no longer questions the Buddha's teachings. So for you, you still have a lot of doubt. So how about trying meditation, trying reciting Buddha's name, and you see that you find yourself more peaceful, more blissful, and you begin to see the advantages of the spiritual practices for yourself. In Buddhism, along the way, we help you attain things that you cannot attain yourself by any other means. Okay? So, good luck to you. Oh, by the way, tonight, yes, there's a question? Yeah, in the back.
Master, yesterday you've explained about we gotta accept the right and the wrong of people, and because ultimately it's also belong to the Dharma realm. And I've reflected upon our translation right now that our Vietnamese translation started to have two new person coming in and helping me out. And I was wondering, because I myself also have a controlling mind that wanted for them to prepare them so that they can go on their own. But at the same time, I listen to you and I see that my obstruction is I just want it to be right and to be proper. So is there a way to balance that? Like on one hand to let them do it, and then the other hand preparing them enough so that they can be on their own? And
there's no right way. You only can try your best. Okay? That's all you got to offer. you try your best, your assistant tries his or her best. That's all that we can do. Okay? There's no surefire way to make sure you don't make mistakes and things like that. The mistakes we made, I catch mistakes from this A-grade translation from masteryonghua into English. Okay? That's normal. Don't be obsessed about it. All you can do is try your best and be happy with that. And whatever happens, we're willing to pay the price. Be at peace. There's no need to worry. That's all we have. Okay? Look at this fire we have right now. What can we do? The karmic retribution is so heavy that so many people get hurt. Okay? And we are here, and we are suffering what is called the common retribution, because they suffer, therefore we also suffer. Okay? Because we in the same boat. And that's life. Nothing to worry about. We just, whatever happens, when you practice Buddhism, we can't guarantee you, because this is a Saha world, that everything will work out for you. Everything will be fine. There's no such guarantee that can be made to you. Okay? In the Saha world, okay, there's so many different competing forces, good and bad, good and evil. And therefore, to worry about bad things happening to you is not very wise. It's not very healthy here. Okay? All you can do, the best thing possible for you, is learn how to cope with it. Have the confidence that you'll be able to cope with it. Okay? French has a saying, advien que pourra, que sera in Espanol. Okay? Whatever, come what may, if you will. That's a translation into English. Okay? And so there's no need to worry about, is something bad's going to happen to me? If something bad happens to us, like the fire happens here in Southern California, unprecedented damages, we have to deal with it. That's all. That's life here in the Saha world. Okay? Don't have to worry about it. Don't be obsessive about it. Try your best. That's all you got. And here tonight we have a Dharma friend here who's from Pasadena, which is how far away from the fire, sir? How far is it? How far are you from a fire?
Thank you, Master. From the base of the foothill, maybe less than 5 miles, 3 miles, something like that.
Yeah. Really?
2 miles from where the fires got to.
And if the wind certainly blows in your direction, there could be even a bigger disaster, because it's a real populous area of Pasadena.
We were 3 blocks basically from the edge of the warning evacuation to the 210. So, but that's very safe compared to other members of our Dharma family, who I just send all my compassion to.
Yeah, there's a lot of suffering. Well, I'm glad you're safe, and hang in there. Hopefully it will get better. This is it's funny for us Buddhists, when something this serious, this grave happens, we question, why is it? What did we do wrong? Okay? And we learn to cope with it. This is so big of a retribution that makes us feel which reminds us that we should be more humble, because what we do can affect others. The bad things we do can affect others, and vice versa. in this city. All the people who do bad things also affect us. Okay, put us in danger as well. Yes, 5.
Thank you, Master, and I really appreciate you acknowledging the event. I just wanted to share with everyone who may be either here in person or listening here in the U.S. or anywhere else in Korea, that it's been astounding to me the way the Los Angeles community has come together. Despite, and this is not a political statement, despite government support, up and down the blocks in Sierra Madre and Pasadena, people are emptying the shelves of water with their own money and donating it for free at different drop points. And it's cutting right through paperwork. Just at PCC, a block from us, you can just walk up, and the lines are down the street for miles. But there's just piles of bottled water and clothes and diapers and food.
Yeah.
Where people are supporting each other. So.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to see in our people here, our community. The Angelinos are very, very, very compassionate, very kind and compassionate. That's wonderful to see. That's just not in a city of LA. I feel it's all over America. This is our moral fabric. We're very strong about this. We really have kindness and compassion. This is why the sages chose to transfer Mahayana from China to the U.S. Okay, because the good roots are here. People with great roots are here. Okay, all right. And there's so much suffering we feel for all these people who are undergoing this tragedy, and we pray for them. Okay, all right. We're on slide 190, Bodhisattva Luminous Marks.
光相菩萨
Okay, commentary slide 191. Wanxiang Pusa is a Chinese name, and according to Master Chu Yi's explanation here, he simply says, luminous marks refers to real marks. And we'll go into real marks a little bit very immediately after this. And so what he does is he uses Prajna wisdom, and that wisdom emits light. And so when something happens, he would use his Prajna wisdom to shine upon something, and then because that wisdom light will help reveal the real marks, so that he's never confused. We are constantly confused by our own poisons, our own anger. That's for me. Greed is for you, okay? And well, greed for me too, come to think of it. And stupidity and so forth. And we don't know better. There's nothing we can do about it. And furthermore, many of you are also oppressed and further confused by your depression and your manic ghosts and so forth. So many things. They are so confusing. It's by design in this Saha world. And so that's why the people are better off using the wisdom light to be able to see the real marks. Okay, what's the advantage? And I looked up real marks. Okay, this is a Buddhist jargon. And let's go through this definition of real marks if you're interested. Okay. It's rarely discussed by the Hinayana practitioners, Tibetan practitioners, because they don't understand real marks. Okay, in Mahayana, there are some people who claim to be Mahayana practitioners, but they don't understand real marks either. Okay? And so I don't expect you to be able to understand it tonight, okay? But it's important for you to understand and hear the jargon and understand the concepts behind it, if you will. And someday it will sink in, okay? And so, real mark here, according to the Buddhist dictionary, the famous one, it's the original meaning, let me read it, refers to the essence, the entity, the truth, and intrinsic nature of things. All right, by extension, it denotes the true and unchanging nature or essence of all phenomena. Phenomena here refers to everything that can be observed. All right, and versus, so in principle, in Buddhism, there's phenomena and the principles behind the phenomenon. Okay, phenomenon is something happening. Okay, a fire. There's fire here, and the principle behind it is because you have dry brushes and the wind and so forth. So there is the theory or the principle behind the phenomenon that you observe. Okay, there's an explanation for it. Right? And so the real mark here denotes the true and unchanging nature or essence of all phenomena, meaning that behind what you observe, there is a real mark. Okay? What you observe is evolving, is changing constantly. For example, I'm aging by the minute. I'm a lot more aware of it nowadays, you know. Thank you very much, old man. So we are, all of us are changing. Our basically human body is decaying. Okay, but behind it, there is an ultimate reality. Whatever we observe here is simply a manifestation, a phenomenon. Okay, it's called false because it's perceived by our false mind. Our thinking mind is also called false mind, and all these happening, as we mentioned earlier about the fire disaster happened because it has its own causes, its own reasons. The fire we observe basically are the consequences, of some causes, okay? And therefore, whatever you observe there, okay, is basically not real, okay? There's the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality of that's called suchness or the Dharma nature. Let's continue. Just don't try to understand. I just want you to hear about this. Yes, there's a question in the back. No? Go ahead.
Yes, Master. Sorry, this is just in language. So the Chinese has the phrase that was translated. They say, 真实不虚, 一切万法真实不虚, and it was translated as, it denotes the true, unchanging nature or essence of all phenomena. So, 真实不虚, as the Heart Sutra translated as, is true and not false. In this case, we're translated as, it is true and unchanging.
That's okay. That translation is okay.
Okay.
Bushu, unchanging, the same concept.
Yes, Master.
Bushu is not false, meaning that even though what we see is false because of our inability, because of our confusion, our sense organs are registering things that we take to be factual. Actually, they're just illusions. That's why in Buddhism we call it false. Okay, that's all. And when you have the wisdom, you'll be able to continue. See what it says next. So this real mark here is that when you have true wisdom of the Buddha, and as I said earlier in my commentary, you will be able to access the Buddha's true wisdom when you reach 1G, first ground Bodhisattva. And as you progress up, you begin to see, understand, and see more and more and more and more. So don't get a big head, okay? Just because it says in the books that you have the same wisdom as the Buddha. Many Buddhist disciples came, ran home, and said, "Hey, Eureka, I'm a Buddha now." No, you're not. You still have quite a ways for you to, lots of work you need to put in before you really are able to wield that wisdom and make it stronger. Okay? And so this real mark here is, this is what, when the Buddha's enlightenment or these enlightened people, they reach this level of enlightenment, this is what they're able to see. And this is their nature. Okay? So the real mark is actually another aspect of the true nature of yours. Okay, you have this true nature, signifying the inherent truth of ultimate reality, meaning that whatever you see, okay, is transitory right now. Okay, don't let it make you discouraged and lose faith. Okay, there's an ultimate reality, okay, behind all these falsehoods that you will be able to experience yourself. And that's how you free yourself from worries, you free yourself from sufferings. Okay? However, if you take all these false things, okay, that we call in our common language is called phenomenon or observable or marks, not real marks, but simply marks. Okay, your observations, your characteristics of things, and then you only deepen your confusion. Okay, that's all. Don't try to understand again. It's very involved, and it's the simple concept here is that the phenomena that we observe are false because we use our false sense organs. Okay, when your sense organs become transformed into wisdom, then you'll be able to observe the real marks, if you will. Okay, and so the terms in Buddhism, there's some jargons that you should hear about. Okay, oneness. Okay. Reality, oneness. Okay. Okay. So there in Buddhism, you might have or will come across these terms, and those are just different aspects of this about real marks. Okay, so terms you run into oneness. Okay, and this refers to, for example, when you become a Buddha, then you're one with everything. We all part of this big Dharma body. The Buddha called the Dharma body, and therefore we part of this oneness. Everything is included in the Dharma body of the Buddha. That's what he knows. He's able to access everything. Okay? Shu Xing, the true nature, not true essence. Okay? True nature, meaning that your wisdom is able to see your real truth about you. Okay, sự ji, ultimate reality, nirvana, true nature, nirvana. Okay, true nature, true essence. Chân, sự, chân, same thing, nonsense. Okay. Chân, sự, sing, chân, sing, it's a different name, it's the same thing. Nirvana, you see, you heard the term nirvana already? Okay, this is a big nirvana, not the nirvana of the Hinayana people. Unconditioned, not non-conditioned. I should have made the... Okay, could you change it? It should be unconditioned. This is true nature, okay? Because there's a duplication here. We don't need to have Chen Sing and Shu Sing. It's the same thing. All right? And formlessness, okay, meaning that actually don't be attached to the forms, like our bodies, don't be attached to it. If you have true wisdom, you would not be attached to it. This is why we're doing all this, in order to help you reach the state that many, countless people have reached already. Okay? Since all phenomena perceived through the conventional sense organs are considered illusory appearances, they're basically phenomena, they're basically illusory. Okay? Only by transcending worldly perceptions can one reveal the true, unchanging reality of all dharmas, which is referred as ultimate reality. So that's what we said. We distinguish between the false and the true, and the false and the real. Okay, real marks. Marks itself is false because without the adjective true marks or real marks attached to it, then it refers to the observable phenomena, and that is false, if you will. Just think of the concept as just false, it's not real. Whereas if you have real wisdom, you look at this phenomena, you see the real nature behind it. So that's why when you observe with your sense organs, you're observing the false. What you observe is false. When you're able to have your prajna wisdom, okay, you'll be able to see you'll be able to penetrate through the false, and you free yourself from your fear, from your doubts, from your suffering. And because you're able to see the real marks. Okay? And that's going to happen. Next. And then they quoted the southern version of Mahaparinirvana Sutra, the distinct characteristics of all phenomena, such as the hardness of the earth, the wetness of water, the heat of fire, are considered illusory. It can all be broken or destroyed. Everything that's observable through our sense organs are evolving and can disappear. Okay. In contrast, the ultimate reality, the true nature, realized through undefiled wisdom, transcends the illusory characteristics of all phenomena and remains equal and unified. And not unified, equal, 平等, iru, and iru. I don't know what iru is, how to translate iru. Within deluded perception, ultimate reality is entirely unattainable. So if we continue in our utter confusion here, we simply increase our suffering. This is why we talk about real mark versus marks. When you are stuck in the realms of marks, you will be confused and your suffering increases. It does not decrease at all. Whereas when you open your wisdom, you'll be able to access the real marks. That's when you put an end to sufferings and you no longer are confused by phenomena. That's why we talk about real marks. Real marks is that something eventually you will reach, unless you've reached already in some of you, and therefore when you switch, you're able to have a choice now. You can go with the marks so that you connect with people. Okay? You go and talk to your wife, to your children. That's through the false mark, through your mouth, through your eyes, through your nose, right? That's how we connect with people. And then, so that's how you're able to relate to others. We have this, we might as well use it. Don't discard it. This is important, okay? But on the other hand, when we need to, we flip and we switch to the real mark, the practice of wisdom, and you will no longer are afflicted. Because when we interact with people, afflictions arise. So you see, these enlightened people have an edge over us in that our world, a false mark, is called duality. Okay, duality means that everything has an opposing force. That's why there is a balance. Okay, if there's evil people, then there's good people. Always. Okay, and that's how our world is constructed. Okay, there's always a balance. Okay, that shifts constantly. All right, and it's a dual world. Whatever you are, okay, whatever anything is, you can always find an opposing force. That's how the world is constructed. Force equals reaction, if you will. Okay, everywhere. And that's a world duality for ordinary people. The enlightened people, that's a world of the ordinary people, the world of marks. The enlightened people are able to enter the state of real marks. Okay, so some of you may be enlightened already, but you don't understand how to use your skills. That's why you still are confused. Okay, so you being trained to use it. Okay, and so when you are enlightened, you enter the world of Buddha, you're able to access the real marks. That's when you free yourself from duality. That's when you see the real marks of things. Okay, and you no longer are confused. Okay, so these enlightened people, in other words for you, don't think enlightened people are dead or there's something special. Enlightened people are like they have a switch. Okay, if they fit normally, they relate to us like ordinary people. But when there's a need for it, they flip the switch, they go into the real marks, and they're not confused anymore. Okay, so that's what bodhisattvas do. They come to our world and use the sense organs to relate to us. Okay, and they do things with us, build bonds with us. That's very important. If you don't trust them, you're not going to follow them. You're not going to listen to their advices, their teachings. So therefore, the Buddhists don't explain this. The bodhisattvas need to be temporarily confused. Does it make sense? The confusion is real. They need to be confused because when they talk to you, and if they pretend to be confused, then it won't work. So they actually, that's why the bodhisattvas, the people who have wisdom, go into the mud. The expression is the bodhisattvas get into the mud, but don't get soiled by the mud like a lotus flower. You heard of that before? Okay, that's what it is. What it means is that the Bodhisattva immerses himself or herself in the mud, and he can't breathe, and he smells like, so bad. Okay, and if you're weak, you run away from it. Bodhisattvas are not weak. They're able to sustain that by flip-flopping, so that they can sustain. Does it make sense? Because if we get into the mud, stay in the mud for too long, we will be overwhelmed. Whereas bodhisattvas stay in the mud for a long time, but they cannot be affected by the mud because they have this switch where they can flip from duality to real mark, so that they can undo the confusion and flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what happens. No one explained this to the Buddhist disciples before. They only want to make it so, abstract and so lofty that it's not for you. Okay, you are not worthy of it. Does it help? Are you bored to death? See? So here's what happens, just to simplify it for you. A bodhisattva, like Warren Buffett, he's a bodhisattva. Okay? I can't tell you what level, but it's pretty high up there. Wait until he dies. I know you can't wait until he dies. Then I tell you his level. You'll be shocked. Okay? So he came to our world. Okay? Was born, confused, studied and did his own thing. See, that's right there. Right there is the confusion right there. And so he built connection with his wives, ex-wives, his children, okay? And then that bond is real, right? I mean, it's family bonds. It's blood bonds, okay? So you see that? They do that, okay? And that they immerse in the world duality. But for 94 years, 95 years, when he needs to, he flips, so that he clears his head. When you flip to the real mark, okay, you can see reality. You no longer are confused by emotions. You no longer are confused by the greed of money. When he makes money, he needs to be greedy. He says, I want more, more, and more for my stockholders, for my company, for my employees, right? So there's greed there. It's real. He's not faking it. But when he needs to, he'll flip the switch and he rises above it and he says, okay, that's enough. Let's not overdo this. Understand the advantages of this? Huh? You can choose how long you want to be confused, if you will, in order to connect and bond with others and help them. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. So, just to discuss the example you're using, does it mean perhaps he's using his notoriety and his wealth and to teach others?
Yes.
I mean, it's his expedient is what I was trying to get to.
He used his success, if you will, the worldly success, to inspire other people, such as businessmen, investors, and so forth, to see that it pays to be moral, it pays to do the right things, okay? It pays not to cheat and hurt others and still make a fortune.
Thank you.
Unlike, for example, the South African, okay? He should be deported. I'm going radical again, and only he and I can understand each other. It's radical mode. He's the richest guy, the richest man in the world. Yeah, he's South Africa. Yeah. I don't know if he's illegal or something. It could be illegal, you know. Whereas that guy made money really by scamming people and exploiting the systems, the weaknesses of the system. So it's destructive. It creates a lot of damages. It hurts a lot of people. Okay, whereas Buffet, you notice he's a good man. He doesn't really try to scam people. I disapprove of his investment, the way he makes money. But it's not like he's scamming people or he's hurting people at all in order to make a living. That's a difference. Does it help? Yes, one.
Master, when you have, let's say that there is an enlightened person that is not part of the Sangha, and you're, amongst your students, how do you approach, not necessarily how do you approach it, but is there a way that you identify and try to guide that person?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, in the back.
Master, when you say Bodhisattva chose to be confused to connect with people, does it mean that they are all programmed before they come to this world?
Not necessarily. They're here on a mission, but they need to be flexible enough to be able to respond to constantly changing conditions. So they need to accord with conditions. So yes, the main thrust of it is to help living beings, certain type of living beings like their family, their friends, their disciples, their colleagues, and so forth. Okay? But how is not quite detailed as you think. There's lots of room to maneuver, room for expedience. All right? So all I'm trying to tell you with the Shu Xiang real mark is that if this is a term that says if you have true wisdom, you are free from confusion, you're free from fear, you're free from doubt, you're free from a lot of confusion. And this is what bodhisattvas do. They flip-flop. Okay? They can flip when we can't. Yes, 5.
Thank you, Master. So if I understand correctly what you're describing, this bodhisattva has like a switch that can flip from confusion, true confusion but not getting soiled like normal people, to being
they get soiled.
Unconfused.
They get soiled. And they flip. Soil, for example, let's be specific. That's why. Like Master Hsuan-Hua, I'll give you an example. Master Hsuan-Hua, when one of his so-called favorite disciple, a nun by the name of Heng Tao, very, very cute, Chinese Hong Kong TV personality, who then became a nun because she said, all the whatever the reason, I think is, I'm told that all the glamour, all that is false, okay? And she's no longer impressed by that, so she wanted to cultivate, was more impressed with Master Hsuan-Hua's spiritual penetration. He said, that's real to me, okay? That's so much cooler than money and fame, okay? And because you can actually do things, okay? And so she became a nun, and she became more or less his favorite. He took her everywhere. I would too, I guess. Wouldn't you like to have a celebrity, TV celebrity, everyone recognizes her, and you look better? She's your disciple. Anyway, she's crazy about acquiring spiritual penetration. So he taught her 42 hands and eyes, and he became an expert, and she started doing things. She saw dragons here in this mountain, Utah, and so forth. So he keeps on calling her. So Heng Da, what do you see? What can you see? He said, oh yeah, that person there, she has this back pain here is because there's a lot of knives, on his back, that kind of thing. And Master, yeah, you're right. The knives are because before he was like a chef, and he stole a lot of knives from the restaurants. So now that's what, so many knives. And now his retribution, he has back pain, but doctors cannot find out what the problem is. They couldn't fix it. Okay, and so an example. So this one here is his really favorite nun, I'm told. Okay, this is after my time. And so when he stopped teaching her because she went out of control, because he never slapped her. I heard I would slap my people right away. I would never hesitate. Look at Anna. I say, yeah, he hurt me before. You're right. It was a moment of anger. Excuse me, forgive me. I'm not perfect. I'm no bodhisattva. Okay, and so it went out of control. Okay, and one day she decided that there is a Sai Baba in India that has a lot of spiritual penetrations. I'm not getting more spiritual, my spiritual penetration are not getting any better here with him. So she decided to switch from him to Sai Baba. Sai Baba is a scammer. Yeah. He's known to make a diamond appear in his hand. Gerard, think about it. Boom, you see a diamond. Can you imagine how rich you can be? You can make it happen. Okay, and so he went around everywhere in the world showing off. Okay, he said, "You see this?" And then you see a diamond. So he went to Japan, and the Japanese invited him and put a lot of cameras from like different angles. And they capture him using a magic trick to make the diamond appear. But by then it's too late. He has his city, he has his hospital, he has adoring disciples wearing bikinis. Whatever. Anyway, so when she left for him, for the other Indian guy, okay, he actually went up and said, he cried. He really cried. His tear came out and said, oh my God, my disciple left me. You know what? It really hurt me but I adore her. She can come back anytime. That those tears there were crocodile tears. It's so real. So at that moment there, he allowed himself to be emotional. But if you touch him, he flipped to cold as ice. Instantaneously. Okay? So that's how he functions. From him, it's like this fast. And in Buddhism, it's as fast as stretching your arm. Okay? That fast in U.S. is finger snap. Okay, this is faster than this. Anyway, so you see, these bodhisattvas, once they have real marks, they can allow themselves to get emotional, get confused, get greedy, get angry, and get stupid and so forth. But it's only what you can observe. They can flip anytime, and you can't even tell. He can be, oh, and he can flip right there in the middle. You see him crying, actually he is cold as ice. Isn't that cool? That's the advantage of seeing real marks. Yes, 5.
Thank you, Master. So, having experienced this natural disaster the past week, I can see a lot of how important, how valuable seeing real marks would be. So my question is, 1, how much does this switch cost? And 2, where can I get it installed?
I'm sorry I can't answer you. If I knew, I wouldn't be here. I'd be out there selling it and making a fortune. Okay? So this is why real mark, just the concept of real mark is that we live in a world of confusion because it's dual. Okay? One moment we love this person, next moment we hate this person. Okay? That love there, the deep love you have, it actually has a seat for extreme hate, the same level of hate already. I know it doesn't sound good for the rest of you, but yeah, that's what they called Christian love. When they talk about love, actually they're talking about hate. And they talk about, how much I love you. Is that the same thing as I will hate you as much eventually? Okay, and so that's a world of duality, if you will. All right, it's inside of us. It's not. Don't look very far. Oh, yeah, Christian. I was about to mention a Christian, but I couldn't see him. Go ahead, Christian. 6.
The concept that you say, I don't understand, and actually I don't think it's true. So how will you explain it?
It's not for you. You cannot understand here. You have to get there. Okay? It's like describing what a bowl of what do I have a craving for recently? Wagyu steak. I'd like to try one. Okay? Wagyu steak. How can you describe it? You just have to taste it. You cut it and right? That is the only way for you to experience it, by eating. Right? You cannot explain. You cannot describe it. Same thing with real mark. What we do with you is that we find a way to encourage you to go until you are able to enter the world of real mark yourself. Then you will come back yourself and say, yeah, it's real. I experience it. Okay? So it's an experience. It's not something that's meant to be explained to others. It's a personal experience. It's an internal switch. Okay? And that switch there is not something that AI can ever be able to simulate. Because AI is false. It's based on false. Yes, 9.
Yes, Master. Is there, therefore, what you say, you have to be deluded to be in love, because it's the exact opposite and equal to real hate. Can you find true love in ultimate reality?
Yes, sir. You can.
Ooh.
Okay? What happens is when you're confused, you have a false self. Okay? That false self there is actually very selfish, very self-serving. The Catholics, when they love you, actually they love themselves more. Ask them. Hey, Catholic, defend yourself. See, that's why he ignores me. Okay? Deep down, ordinary people's love is actually loving themselves first. They love themselves so much that this person facilitates that self-love more than others. That's what it is. Okay? So when you let go of this ego here, that's self-serving, okay, that does everything, okay, to indulge itself, like what we do here in America. Okay? When you are able to let go of this self here, the selfishness inside of you, the self is basically your selfishness, okay? Then you have access to a true self. The true self there, okay, can love without conditions, because, and I know the Catholic uses the word unconditional love a lot as well. That's why I try not to use it, because, you know, my family, when we fight each other to death, okay, when we get together, we would fight each other, and their excuse that I'm doing this because I truly love you is unconditional love. Every time it's the same message. I love you unconditionally. You hear? I hurt you today, but you ought to know I love you unconditionally. This fight here is out of love. My hurting you is out of love because I love you unconditionally. And so, when you have this true self here, okay, the true self here, when this person loves, okay, it's truly unconditional. It doesn't demand that you love back. Catholic, when he loves someone, are you paying attention, girl? Okay? When Catholic loves someone, he expects you to do things that makes him feel loved. True or not? Yeah, see?
Not really, no.
Liar. Okay, cut him off. It's my temple. That's all you got tonight. What happens, you can deny all you want, is that ordinary people, when we love, okay, it's because we love someone because that person loves us. When that person ceases to love us, we change. We divorce her. Yeah? You're not going to stay there. Are you listening, huh, Buddhist girl? When you have a true self, okay, when you love someone, you don't expect anything back. The person can be yelling at you, can be harming you, you still love. Go ahead.
Master, it's been my observation in my years here in the Saha world. I've been in love, and I've also sat and thought at length about how it would feel to be egoless. But I don't think I can conceive of being egoless and having love for someone also.
That's because you're not there yet. That's why. Ultimately, ordinary people, the love is actually self-serving. Actually, when they say they love someone, actually means they love themselves more. Okay, that's what it means. Whereas when you have a real, true self like a bodhisattva, then when you love someone, it's one way. It's no expectation in return for real. That's all. And it's what you do. You don't talk about it. The Catholics keep on talking about, oh, Catholic is here tonight. We're very lucky. The Catholics keep on talking about unconditional love and so forth. But the Bodhisattvas, they do it. They don't say anything. They keep on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and endlessly. That's all. Okay? And finally, because of all this discussion, I want you just to memorize this. I told you this before. This is important for you. He says, real marks is no marks, yet nothing without marks. Memorize it. Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Catholic, I don't care. Okay? Just memorize it. What it means is that no marks. If you're able to see real marks, here's what you do. You see no marks, meaning that you are not attached to the marks. Okay? So you see it's empty. You see it's unreal. Okay? Yet nothing without marks. On the other hand, you know it's empty. Okay? Because look at our bodies. We all will eventually turn to dust and emptiness. Yeah? Eventually. Right now, it's temporary. Long term, we will go back to zero, to emptiness. Okay? So that's why when you have wisdom, you're not that terribly attached to what this state, temporary state right now. Okay? So you can see through. No marks, you can see through appearances, yet nothing without marks. Meaning even though it's empty, but you accord with conditions. You may see it's empty, I may see you as empty, but you don't see yourself as empty, do you? You don't. And therefore, for me to be here with you, I need to see both you as empty and yet not empty. That's a middle way. Okay? It's something that happens here inside of your head, in your heart. It's not something that you explain. You can demonstrate. Okay? And that's why it's called prajna wisdom. You know it in your heart. That's it. Can't sell it. Can't make money off it. All right? And so that's why this luminous marks, Bodhisattva, he can see the real marks, meaning that he's attached to nothing whatsoever in this entire universe. Not money, not fame, not spaceships, not anything at all. Because he sees so clearly. All right? So therefore, this person here had tremendous wisdom. Therefore, he's not confused by appearances. We are confused by appearances ourselves. We like bagels, we like English muffin, yeah. Because we are confused by the taste and by the fragrance, yeah. Don't you like bagels when it's freshly nooked, a little bit of cream cheese? I know this guy, this doesn't help. Marco is going crazy. I only have a few more hours and Master is driving him crazy. You see? And so that's the nature of our conditions. We are confused by our sense organs. Okay, when like right now, when I talk about, bagels and cream cheese, I'm salivating like crazy. I feel hungry again. Okay, and so that's why, even though they're not attached to it, they still can embrace it. They still can relate to you. Because this is what happens to the Chan masters. They see everything is empty, she's empty, she's empty, she's empty, she's empty, he's empty, and so forth. They attach to nothing. So they're in a world by themselves. There's no point talking to you because you're not real. You're empty. What's the point talking to you? Don't give me money because money is empty. But if they don't take money from you, how the hell are you going to increase your blessings? See, that's what happens. And so that's why this world of no mark, okay, because they see the real marks, but they're not attached to that emptiness. They still can function in the world. They're not affected by the world. They're not affected. They're not soiled by the mud. Any other questions? And that's why it's called practical wisdom. And bottom line, all of you will be able to open it. All of you. And when that happens, you will no longer remember my name. It will be so long down the road. So I'm not even bothered. Say, like my friends used to tell me, when you get rich, remember me. When I tell you, when you have opened your wisdom, you forget about me. Yes, ma'am. One.
Amitabha, Master, just have a few comments and maybe questions. For sure, worldly love without emotion is not, without spicy, without expectation, is not going to be fun. I agree with that. You have to have that, all that. Otherwise, it's not fun. Bodhisattva's love is not fun. Well,
No, the Bodhisattva has a lot of fun.
Yeah, but on the Bodhisattva way, but not in the Daniel's world way.
No, they also love pho. They also love tacos.
But they could switch.
The same way as you. It's no difference.
But the Bodhisattva can switch.
Yes. When that love there, that desire for food becomes confusing, they flip the switch.
Yeah.
They're not confused. That's all. That's the difference in some of us.
Yeah, that's why it's world. Yeah, but worldly people, Daniel, me, we cannot switch. So that's the key difference right there.
Yeah, that's right. They can flip any time. That's why they're able to come to our world to help us out. They become confused like us and then flip and say, oh, let's stop doing this.
Thank you. And I have some, maybe share some two good things happened to me and question related also.
You are judged by the company you keep, is an American expression.
So I'm judged by my Christian friend?
I didn't say that.
Thank you, Master.
I simply said you're judged by the company you keep.
Thank you, Master. So I don't. So Wednesday something happened. Actually, that go back to many weeks ago. I don't know if Master was teasing me or something. So I came to the temple. As soon as I got in, Master say, "Oh, that's it. Good night." And the first time it happened, I was afflicted. I was felt like Master's teasing me. It's like a little demon saying, laughing, ha 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 ha. So it happened once, and then twice. I was afflicted. I was like, really? 3 times? Really?
Yeah.
And then 4 times, I was so afflicted. And then Wednesday was the 5th time it happened, Master, this Wednesday. So I came in, and again, you were closing. But
Is there a reason why you choose to come in when I have to end my lecture?
Hold on, Master.
Is it possible?
Let me finish the story.
Okay, sorry.
So this lingered many weeks because it happened before you left to go forest. That was how it started.
Yeah.
So by Wednesday I came in and it happened again. And then suddenly it says, oh, it's because I have an ego. And I broke through that. I was not tortured by that anymore.
I'm glad you have no more ego.
No. That little incident, that little being teased by Master when I came in late, that little ego, that thing tortured me the whole
I know
time.
we're joking a lot, but that's what the nature of combating your ego is about. We combat the ego with one aspect at a time until we're able to corner it, get it cornered, and then we squeeze the neck until you die.
So I don't know how that happened, but I was relieved from that little torture with Master thing.
You see, but I know, I beg for your indulgence and patience. Right there, okay. When you talk about ego, that's what happens to you. You come to the temple, you get afflicted by this and that constantly, and we guide you through to eventually corner your ego, and then squeeze the light off of your ego.
So, Master, you did that to me on purpose?
No, we do it very gently, that squeezing. Sometimes we hit, we break the nose first and then...
So you were teasing me for real? So,
okay, K-YouTube has a comment here. I have to go very soon. I'd love to sit here and talk to you, but I don't know true love, so if I do that, it's to serve myself. It would be a bad example for you. K-YouTube comment.
네, 유불도님의 질문입니다. 불경의 내용이 서로 충돌할 때에는 어떻게 이해해야 하나요? 예를 들어 법화경에선 오직 법화경만 존경하고 다른 경전은 읽지 마라라고 합니다.
When the sutra content contradict each other, what should I do? For example, in the Lotus Sutra, it says that respect only this sutra and do not read other sutra. So how can I understand this?
I don't remember the section. There's a section that says respect the sutra. Okay, what you do is that, unfortunately, the Buddhist teachings has contradictions, lots of contradictions, only because the Buddha's teaching is very flexible. When he teaches you, different people, he needs to tell them differently, different things. So that's why, for example, when I started teaching, about 20 years ago, the way I taught is different from the way I teach now. It's because I negate a lot of things I said 20 years ago. Not only because I don't believe it anymore, it's because it no longer applies to many of you. Okay? It's like when you teach elementary school, you need to do differently than when you teach college students. That's all. Okay? So if you have confusion, that's normal. You should have, the main thing for you is to talk to your teacher and make sure that your teacher clarifies it for you. That's the only thing that matters. That's the main thing. Okay? Your teacher's job. This is why the Buddha sends his disciples to our world, so that they can help clarify those confusions, those contradictions for us, because we cannot figure it out ourselves. That's our limitations. Okay? So get some help from your teacher. Yes, too.
Dạ, con kính thưa thầy. Thường con trì chú hay niệm Phật á, sometimes cái lâu lâu con hay bị giống như là đang niệm cái tự nhiên cái nó bị giống như là không có energy vậy đó, nó ngưng lại. Thì khi con ngưng lại là giống như con bị giống như là hôn trầm hay gì, thì con thường thấy hình ảnh giống như là những cái người mà trong cái cuộc sống ở ngoài đời, họ ở trong cái đầu của con vậy đó, rồi họ nói chuyện rất là clear. Thì cái đó có phải là cái vọng tưởng của mình theo như thầy dạy thì giống như là bỏ qua hết, nhưng mà con thấy con cứ bị hoài á, thì con muốn hỏi thầy cái đó có phải là vọng tưởng của mình và mình phải làm như thế nào á thầy?
Hello, Master. Usually when I recite mantra or recite the Buddha name, sometimes during recitation, there's a moment that I don't have any energy. I lost all my energy, and then all of a sudden I stop and I become sleepy, drowsy, and usually I saw a picture in my mind about a life of casual life of the person in my head, and they are talking to each other, very vivid. And Master told me to ignore it, but then it just keep appearing in my head. And is that a false thought? What should I do, Master?
When you practice, whether it's reciting the Buddha's name, mantras, or meditate, and so forth, you run to what is called many, many states. Whatever you experience is called a state. And all you have to do is ignore it. It's endure it. Eventually it will stop. That's all. You don't need to do anything. It's natural for us to get distracted. And then once you realize, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be reciting the Buddha's name. When you remember, go back to it. Don't get afflicted. Don't say, there we go again. Why does it keep on happening to me? You don't even need to do that. As soon as you're aware that you lost, you get distracted, just go back, that's all, quietly. Don't react to it. It's a natural for all of us. What you're also saying is very, very important. Okay, there are two types of Buddhist disciples. The majority of the Buddhist disciples want to know words like real marks, like selflessness, like prajna. They only want to hear words, and they like it because the Buddhist teaching is very, very interesting, very intellectual, very logical, very beautiful. Okay, the Buddha is eloquent, so when his teachings are fascinating. It's so much fun to read it. So that's why the majority of the Buddhist disciples nowadays are more interested in the jargon and studying the books. masteryonghua is one of the rare examples of monks where he teaches us. This is why we study his teachings. He teaches us, he tells us what to do so that we can rise above our confusion and open our wisdom and be more at peace and more blissful. So what he does is very special about this monk here, and it sets a precedent here in this country practically, is because he showed us a method on how to do it. And he trained a lot of his disciples to do that. Just like here in our community, you look around, many people are able to do it as well. Okay, and so that's why it's very rare to be able to do that. And what's fascinating about you, what's caring about you, is you keep on improving. I see Daniel, who joined us 4 or 5 years ago. Huh? Yeah, and he was very afflicted. And look at him now. Look at how peaceful he feels and how content he is right there, except he's very hungry. Yeah? Okay. And, and when I first talked to him, he asked me a lot of questions. And I basically told him, meditate and do this, do that. He used to sit and cross his legs. And in a lecture, he would be making these noises, like obscene phone calls that you receive at night. And you go back to some of the tapes the last 5 years ago for us, you could hear his voice right there. Okay, now he doesn't do it anymore. Now he got a great job, I would say, a great company, and his bosses recognized him very quickly and promoted him, you see, and he's still improving, you see. And that's what cultivation is about for us. No? It's not him. You have another pale-faced person here, okay? And he used to be so manic. He would attack everyone and criticize everyone, okay? That's why he got great jobs, great position. He never could hang on to any of those positions. The boss recognized his technical skill. The guy has vision. He's very skilled at what he's doing. But when he works with people, he cannot work with people. That's why one job after another, he has a great job at this great company. And I said, wow, let them teach you. You have to learn. And after, a year, maybe 5 years? How many years? 5 years. They're very patient. They let him go. Okay? And then it's a real crisis. And then he got another job. Eventually he got another job at another good company. Okay? The guy is a serial entrepreneur. The guy founded a company and then made a fortune out of it. So I said, well, I hope you can hang into it. I won't do it because you can make a lot of money. Okay? And remember me. But again, it's like the people's skills because he's very manic. And so you see, what we do in our community is that we shed our faults. We look at our faults and overcome our faults, one after another after another. Okay, and that's what helps improve your relationship with your loved ones, with your co-workers, and so forth. And not to mention that you be healthier physically and mentally. And that's you, all of you. All of you are going through this process. Okay, this ex-silver beard here. He used to have such a beautiful goatee. Okay, I don't know why he shaved it. Maybe to look younger or something.
Women disapproved of it.
See, the thing we do for love, for false love. He used to, walk around like this, He liked it a lot. I looked one day, after a few years, I looked at him and said, you've been stuck for a couple of years now. It's time for you to move on. And he said, oh yeah, sounds good. He's a different man now. You feel much better, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, healthier too. And so that's what's interesting about you. You all keep improving and make it more challenging for me. Okay, that's why we all need to evolve. That's what Buddhists do, you know. Okay, time is up, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.